Oh yeah, that made everything look almost non-existent. Now we just barely can see the grid.
And you still can't see the image that's there.
Nope.
Correct.
What the crack? I
It's
don't
not one of our
understand.
games if
You
it
guys have seen all my other
technical
pictures.
difficulties.
I'm not doing anything different, I swear. Like, yeah, I would actually just have to, like, choose a random color. I can't. I don't understand. Literally, I've got, like, the cool full-on splash page that's on the outside of the game before you click in. Just, like, as a nice backdrop while I talk. And I don't understand why you guys don't get to see it. All of my other pictures you've been able to see. Make that go away. So maybe I'll just change what layer that goes to then. How's that sound? No, I can't do that either. I go to that one. I don't understand. Well, fine, then I'll just give you guys a different page to look at that we know works, huh?
Okay.
Lame. I liked that one.
I'm sure we did too.
Did you, though? So now you guys see the stupid globe, right?
No. I see a rectangle of white
Grid.
grid.
I don't understand what's happening. That one has definitely worked in every session before. How about now?
The smileys are back.
You guys don't have anything now either?
Mm-mm.
No, just the grid, not the white background, plus the smileys that people have drawn.
See, I don't even see the smileys.
Okay.
So
I
if
feel
we go
sorry
back
for
to
you.
this cool map,
See the
Airship.
Hey.
so that you see.
Yeah,
Yes.
we see the airship.
No difference whatsoever.
What layer are the other pictures on? Are they on the GM layer?
No, they're on the map layer, which is where this one's at too. That way the grid was just there for everyone to kind of play with.
Yeah.
Can you make a suggestion moving the picture to this one to see if we can actually see it, or maybe it's just the picture?
Oh, maybe it is on the wrong layer. I'm gonna take it back over there. Oh, there's smileys I see now. All right, I'm gonna go back over there. Your smiley picture on the other one I wanted.
That's weird. Hey, we have a picture.
Yay!
Now
Hey,
I just
imagine
need to
that.
Now I just need to get rid of all these stupid dark grid things that I made appear while I was experimenting.
Dark grid things. I don't know what
The-
dark grid
yeah.
things you mean.
There. I just didn't want to see the graph. So you guys got a cool picture now with your silly smileys drawn over it.
Yes, we
Yay
do.
yay for eye candy. I don't know how it got to that layer, but we'll
I
call
thought we
it.
were the eye candy.
What's that?
Said I thought we were the eye candy.
Sure, if that makes you feel happy.
It does.
Okay. Cool. So, are we ready to go? Are we streaming yet, or are we just kind of goofing around?
No, we're streaming. That was totally the typical Paladin's pajamas technical issues.
Cool. Well, hi everybody, and welcome back. So, at the end of last session, you guys had gone to the cool fighting arena, if I remember correctly. In, let's see, what district was that? I think that was District 6. Yep, you guys were down in Precinct 6. Sorry, because the whole thing is District 10. If you recall, you guys went to the slaughterhouse to see. Or sorry, you guys went to the gore house first because the street fighting ring was near there. And while you were there, you met this cool NPC that was inspired by a magic card. Because he had a cool metal dome that said diplomacy on the top, if you recall. Can you guys see the cool card?
Yes, we
So,
see.
Yeah.
just a little fun toss out. The quote on this card is what inspired that, because this character named Jula has a metal cap that says diplomacy across the top. But anyway, we're done with him. He didn't have a whole lot to tell you, but his daughter did, who the party named for us as DOTTE, or Dot, because she was about the age of 12 and had a blue dress with dots on it. And she agreed to arrange a meeting with someone named Squee, or AKA Squee the Immortal, an infamous goblin who apparently can't die if all rumors are true, who is also a former associate of Krenko, who you guys are trying to track down. Um, you'll probably remember that Dot has a huge crush, a schoolgirl crush on Squee, and that she knows that the next day, which will be where we pick up, he is supposed to be having lunch with another goblin named Garluga, who her papa has a huge crush on as well. And the only thing that you've heard is that she has, quote unquote, all the curves in all the right places, and that Dot does not like her because she likes Squee, and Squee is pursuing her despite her relationship with the papa. You know, a whole big little love triangle thing going on there. But Jula and Squee are both former lieutenants for Krenko, and those were two of the leads that you decided to try and track down. So you guys went back to the refugee center to spend the night. I don't know if you had anything that you would like to say that you did in your downtime until the next morning when you're supposed to meet with Dot. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, so the only thing I wanted to see, because you guys also have worked with my character before and had a chance to sleep. So right before my character actually goes to sleep, you see her burst into a thing with spiders. So she like falls apart with a bunch of different spiders, and she all bunches up into like a little corner, and she sleeps that way.
And hopefully the exterminators don't kill them.
Well, if Martine actually sees Crawl do this, she'll set up right in front of Crawl to help intersect that.
Aw, it's precious.
They haven't interacted a whole lot,
nice.
admittedly, but Martine understands sleeping is a very... Sleeping, you're very vulnerable. I will say that. So having someone in front of you, even if you're, adding spiders and creepy things to help protect you, having someone else in front of you is going to be better.
Yeah, the reason Crawl really does it is she doesn't like to sleep alone.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
Anytime Crawl does that, Gal will leave the room. He does not like all the little spiders.
Making a note of that.
Yeah, Martine is perfectly fine with spiders.
How about Decca? Decca, are you okay with this phenomenon? Are you taking notes about this?
I'm taking notes about it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I probably should have asked Shayna if she wants us to NPC note or just have her not go along today.
I really don't know.
Actually, I've got a little fun thing. We're going to say that you guys are going to the meeting together because you're supposed to meet near the fighting ring, but when you get there, I'm going to have her break off to take care of a few personal things because of her objection to the way Jula interacted with his daughter the night before. I think that she's going to have an off-scene confrontation with Jula to educate him how to treat the ladies.
Awesome. I'm good with that.
So we had a long rest, basically?
Yes, you guys had a long rest.
All right, I want to do my portent rolls.
Very well, go for it.
Okay.
Cool.
I don't have the alchemist feat, but...
Oh.
No, I don't. I'm an alchemist, but I haven't taken the alchemist feat, so I can't do anything on a rest.
One more level and you can get it. I don't know if I mentioned, but that's part of finding Krenko. So, the next morning, you guys don't encounter any issues on your way back to the street fighting ring. It is roughly 9:45, got about 15 minutes early. When you get there, it's surprisingly not currently in operation. The spectators are all dispersed. There are two youngish-looking, probably wizard's apprentices or sorcerer apprentices or apprentices of some kind, using prestidigitation to clean all of the blood and gore from the actual fight ring itself. There is a dead ogre that has been smashed through the bars, like physically smashed through and is wedged and is dead. There is a goblin that is currently using a bone saw to try and extricate said dead ogre from this position the hard way. There is no sign of. Oh no, Jula is probably way off to the side because we're gonna say that Note's gonna go have words with him today. But you do see Dot. She is waiting near the bar, completely dressed very different from yesterday. So yesterday, as you recall, Dot had like on a blue dress with spots and probably a ponytail. She looked very much the young little 12-year-old goblin daughter. Today, however, it looks like she has other plans because she has spruced herself up somewhat in a very form-fitting outfit that a 12-year-old has no place wearing, has her hair in blue pigtail-looking things with little skull pieces, nose piercings that were not there yesterday.
She's adorable!
She's wearing a lot of makeup. Like, you could tell like she probably hasn't had formal training in the makeup, but she's trying really hard.
She does better than I do.
And that has also served to cover up the bruising on her forehead from her papa's diplomatic headbutt the day before. So when she sees you, she kind of like hops down off of her bar stool and skips over to say hello and says, "Hi, everybody," and like literally does like the hand waving shenanigan. She says, "Are you guys ready? We're going to see Squee today." And she like super clappy and is giddy with excitement about getting to see her man crush, Squee, the immortal goblin.
She's so adorable.
That was the idea. Also, side note, don't ever Google female goblins on like a device that you don't trust or in the wrong circles because there is some scary shit.
Heal 24.
You know, I'm just letting you know.
Anything that exists, there is porn of it.
Yeah, I was not expecting quite that much.
Sorry, a heal 34,
Or-
not 24.
You have low expectations then.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we were just not expecting that. But anyway, do you guys have anything you want to ask her today, or are we about to just go ahead and follow her off to the rendezvous?
I'm just going to ask whoever's next to me. I'm like, is this the same goblin we talked to yesterday?
Yes. Also, I think my food has finally arrived.
Oh, you should go get your food. That's important.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Decca, you're usually tied to Note's side. Given that she's NPC'd off doing something today, do you wish to connect yourself to someone else, or are you just going to wander free this time?
Who's closest to me, I wonder?
That's up to y'all. I mean, there's 4 of you.
Always behind somebody.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be you. I don't really know you. It'd probably be
It's the world.
Martine or Galeth.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
So it's a fun game on who does Decca trust the most at this point, huh?
yeah. I'm going to make a D100 roll, see what this... Okay, it's Martine.
Very well. So
And if she doesn't, I'm not going to ask her. I'm just going to do it.
you're just going to walk up and tie your little rope to Martine?
Yeah.
What are you tying it to? Her arm or her waist?
Yeah, it's just like a harness type thing. I'm just like hooking it up to her.
So, Martine, can you hear us?
Yeah, I
So, Decca has come up behind Martine as Note departs and has started placing a harness on her that he is attached to.
Okay, seeing that he has done this multiple times with the Note, Martine
Yeah.
is just gonna kind of like assist with getting the straps right. Not quite understanding what the significance of this is.
That's a lot of trust he's trusting you with right now.
Well, it's a lot of trust Martine is trusting Decca with right now. It's like, okay, I've seen Decca and Note do this.
Mm-hmm.
Note has wandered away. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna go with it.
Very well.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
Dot definitely is confused by this.
I need to
Uh-oh.
walk away for a moment.
Okay. We'll take a brief pause then, since it looks like James may have vanished as well. And, 2 out of 4 is only so much fun.
Well, no, the whole point is it is fun, but the fact is we're the two that follow other people. So
Right?
we're leading the party.
Just doesn't work out very well then.
Yeah. So I don't know if you need a refresher on my character, things like that. There's James. So my character is a wild hunt shifter character. Like I said, I'm super creepy. I've got my jaw up here, and I've got my hair mostly that covers my face, and I'm usually behind somebody.
And you have little dolls of each of the other party members, correct?
Correct. I have hair dolls of each one of the party members. They don't get a chance to see it actually on camera, but they know when the camera views me when they're not around. I have a hair doll made of everybody, with the exception of Becca, which I think I might either have metal shavings or something else that Becca leaves behind.
The voodoo is strong with this one.
Well, no, not for voodoo, but I mean, if worst case scenario something happens, I'm good.
You just piss her off one day, and she pulls out this little doll and says,
Starts twisting the head a little bit.
I would do that. It'd be like have like my nails and poke it or something like that. So
she has her animal companion just like run around behind one of you and like actually bites you while invisible or something, while miming that she's doing this to the doll, and you think it's legit voodoo. Animal trickery.
So remember, I'm a druid, but if you want to give me an animal companion, I will take it.
I'm such a 3.5 addict that I don't always remember the changes that occurred in 5e for classes that I haven't played over much of. So
I will gladly pick my animal companion and get back to you the next session.
That's apparently not how 5e works. No.
Well, if you want, I can take a level of ranger or two so I can get an animal companion.
I mean, in theory, you could like train a pet. It's just not an animal companion at that point.
True.
And you don't have to split levels.
Yeah, but then I'd have to feed it, and that would take away from my profit.
Unless you feed it spare spiders from your swarm.
That's a part of me, literally giving a part of me, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't do that with my character.
Just steal from Martine's candy cane stash.
The animal probably wouldn't live very long if it's living off the candy canes. I don't think I can get to go around, kill things, and be fine with it. Like, what? It's hungry.
Why is that thing so skinny and acting like it's hopped up all the time? I don't understand. It's like the dog on The Simpsons.
He doesn't know where to get the spiders, but he just eats the spiders and it freaks out when we go to sleep.
The dog on The Simpsons, that thing's name was Christmas, right? Something like that? It just fits. You're feeding it candy canes and you can see its ribs.
That was like, let me see. Yeah, Santa's Little Helper. I knew it, but I had to look it up real quick.
I was close. I knew it had something to do with Christmas.
Yeah, correct. So is there anything you need from us for this adventure or something else you want to go on? We can try to role play in this little spot. Now that we got
Not really. This was just where you guys agreed to meet, Dot, and it seemed like a really good place for Note to go off and do something noteworthy. But
Yep.
And you guys are actually, we'll say you guys are going ahead and wandering down the streets following Dot, who is practically like skipping, and like she actually breaks ahead of you sometimes accidentally and has to like come back, and you can tell that she's kind of annoyed by the fact that you guys don't move through the crowds as fast as she does, but she's also a lot tinier. It's not quite the lunch hour, so there are a lot of storefronts open. There are some still opening. The smell of baked goods is thick in the air. Morning pastries and the smell of cooked meats is starting to take over as menus shift with the time of day. Go ahead, Carl.
So I have a question for you. I know we have access to all these maps, but do our characters do? Like, I'm kind of wondering how informed we are when we're actually traveling.
You probably could have gotten some at the refugee center, I'll say. At the very least, the high level view, maybe not the individual precincts, but the one that's the entire district. There's probably one of those to exemplify people what District 10 is, even though you probably don't know this, but as refugees, you're not yet citizens, and technically you don't have permission to leave that initial district, but your current employment has given you a gray area pass, if you will, that doesn't seem to have an expiration date on it. You're not really sure of the extent of it or how long it's good for, but for right now, you know for sure you can go from District 4 to District 6 with that piece of paper for as long as it works anyway, while you're still waiting to be in processed at the refugee center.
Are there like guards or checking stations or whatever
Yes, absolutely.
at the edge of the various precincts?
At the edge of every precinct, there is a Boros waypoint center and customs facilities, because of all the trade between precincts also gets taxed. You know, the city's got to make its money and security and all that good stuff.
So, and as we travel, do we notice any other colors or certain places that stand out a little bit more? Because we, you know, certain guilds have a thing, more presence in certain areas. I'm wondering if we...
Guild branding is everywhere on everything, which if you haven't seen it, I know I shared that handout in the conversation the other day, but there's a handout about the guilds and how they work in this game in specific. But that'll break down how things work. Like, you'll see those brandings for the different companies on anything that pertains to that sort of thing. There are plenty of unaffiliated businesses that don't pay dues or don't have actual guild membership, but they are probably still paying someone to operate because it's just that kind of a city.
And we haven't had to choose a guild yet, right?
Correct, because you don't get to just choose. You actually have to petition to join. And one of the things that Mr. Johnson has offered as payment is a letter of introduction to the guild of your choice with a reference, which coming from him is pretty significant, as he is, quote unquote, the most connected man in the city. And they don't say district when they say that, they say city, which is probably an interesting distinction for someone paying attention, or easily dismissed as they mean the district. Take your pick on that. He's a pretty swarmy guy. But yeah, like, this is basically like, I don't, if you're familiar with Shadowrun at all, I've basically just kind of smashed that like atmosphere into Ravnica in my head. That's why things are corporations instead of guilds per se, and kind of modernized some of that. So there's branding everywhere because everyone's making money off of something, and they get extra money by having that brand saying that it's guild approved, basically.
So do we see one more often than others? You know, like, because we have certain corporations.
In this district, let me bring up my, now, crap, I had my notes up. So this was...
Precinct 6, from all the things I'm seeing, looks like it'd probably be Rakdos or the Golgari.
Yep, so Precinct 6. I had the wrong one up. So looking at Precinct 6, actually there is a lot of Rakdos going on here because of Gorehouse being in the area. Foundry Street and the Smelting Quarter in general will have a lot of Rakdos affiliations going on because they used to be... Like, this used to be prime Rakdos because they used to have all the mining guilds underfoot by controlling the unions. There has been a bit of a schism in the way of the mining areas lately, which was on the newscasts, kind of mentioned. If you guys get over into Midori Park, you'll see there's a lot of Orzhov warehouses and storage facilities. Which actually, if you scroll down, you'll see underneath the map there of Precinct 6, there's a description of the neighborhoods. So that'll actually give you a pretty good idea of what's going on in all of them as you're walking. But where you guys are going is technically in... Actually, yeah, it'll be in this little area between Midori Park and Foundry Street. There's like a shadowed area above Midori Park that's still in Precinct 6. The cafe where you're going will be in that region.
Do you know the name of the cafe before we head there?
Nope, because I will make one up before we do that.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. Look for a sign that way we get 2 cafes. We don't go to the wrong one because
Yeah.
she just says.
No, Dot knows
Their
exactly.
name cafe?
She's pretty confident. What'd you say, James?
The No Name Cafe?
No Name Cafe? We can make a chain called the No Name Cafes if you'd like. That'll make it really easy to find. Which No Name Cafe do you mean? The one with no name? Right? I was just kind of dragging heel a little bit, hoping that Becca got back. But we don't have to, I suppose.
So we're not in a rush. So he said, if you want to move around the town, if you want to make little by little walk around different places, we can get distracted. We can stop in each one of the stores. We can go around, take the back alley, or just.
Sure. If you guys would like to ask for rumors of Krenko on the way too, or any of the other leads that you had, if you recall, there was a dossier.
Krinko's dossier. 006.
The dossier will have all of the rumors that you could ask around about. Some of these things you missed last week. The party did already ask around a little bit. Finding details about this Mr. Taz has not proven a successful venture. Fallish, you guys have learned, is indeed an excommunicated, is a weapons manufacturer. That stands up to everything you've learned. Finding a location on Fallish, Jula did not know, but Jula knew that Fallish was and did at one point supply lots of weapons to Krenko and probably would be a good person to talk to. He's fairly certain that Squee would have a line possibly on Fallish. An interesting thing that you as players may or may not have picked up on, but Fallish's gender seems to be rather fluid, as he or she has been referred to as both.
Say they, maybe?
Yeah. They have been referred to as both male and female at times. Take from that whatever you will. You guys know you're on the way to meet Squee, who is a former enforcer for Krenko. He apparently can't be killed. There was a fight at the fight ring once where they pitted him against a dragon because Jula doesn't like Squee. And the dragon literally burnt Squee to ashes, and yet somehow Squee survived, which only feeds his reputation and pissed Jula off to no end. Squee does owe Jula 50,000 Xenos, apparently. He's not looking to pay up because that's a lot of money. And Durgig Shattergang is dead, but his brothers still run the gang, and that was Krenko's number one rival when he was running the 10th Street Mafia. So that's most of the leads you have to go on. You can ask if you want while you're moving, or
I'd like to ask a bunch of questions, but I know my character wouldn't be. But I noticed in the note of Krenko's dossier, it says, "See Shatter Gang Brothers case file for more." That's something that's going to be added later, or is that something else that we have to find?
Johnson didn't provide said case file. Like, he literally handed you an official document from the Azorius Law Mages, basically, that he may or may not have gotten on the up and up, or possibly illicitly. Who knows? He didn't say anything about any extra attachments, and nobody asked.
Yep. I know I would have. My character would not.
Oh, the fun of Terry missing sessions.
Except my character's probably not going to ask too many questions anyway, so it's perfectly fine. My brain would be like,
The Shatter Gang, I mean, you probably would have heard at the Refugee Center people talking about local powers and everything, but the Shatter Gang brothers basically are one of the top goblin gangs that run racketeering and protection type services throughout the entire district. They kind of inherited the vacuum that Krenko left behind when his cartel folded, or sorry, not his cartel, his mafia folded. And they don't really do a whole lot except raise rabbles, do protection services, punish people for not doing protection purposes, rolling over competition. You know, old school mob stuff on the streets. Probably do a little bit of smuggling here and there, both people and illicit materials.
Not really a gang; it's more of a club kind of thing.
Yeah, goblin gangs are always a good time. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank
Scott's
you.
mom was calling, and good Mother's
You
Day
need to
stuff.
tell her to read the schedule, Ma. Mother's Day or not, there are priorities in our lives. I'm teasing.
Yeah.
So you guys are walking. I was dragging heel.
Okay.
James has named the cafe of your destination as the No Name Cafe because we've decided there's a chain of no name cafes throughout the district, possibly further. You never know. You'd have to like research that, I guess, and then I'd have to make a decision, and heaven forbid. So you reach what looks like we'll say for the player knowledge, a little mom and pop European style cafe. Tables that extend out onto the street with umbrellas. People eating brunch, breakfast, and some actually starting to delve into lunch because it is coming up on the 11th hour of the morning. At one of the tables, you will note there is a female goblin, and Dot definitely goes when she sees her, almost cat-like hiss because she is not a fan. Based on the description that you've gotten of a goblin with all the curves and all the right places that would attract the attention of at least two male goblins that hate each other, you see what looks like a Golgari affiliated female goblin with multiple piercings, dreadlocks, scantily clad, tightly bound leather,
She is
sitting at the
really
table,
hot.
looking very perturbed.
She looks really hot.
Yeah. No sign of a male goblin yet, but she's sitting there kind of looking at her nails, just looks resting bitch face. Like she does not look approachable in the least. She's not a happy goblin.
Does she have anything in front of her, drink or food wise?
She does have a drink on the table. There's a discarded menu. It looks like she's waiting for Squeeze still, probably.
Is he late?
Yes.
How low is her beverage?
How low is her beverage?
How low?
It looks barely touched. She just looks super annoyed.
Fuck.
I mean, you could ask, but I don't know if she's going to be up for it.
Well, I can always try, and I can get shot down. Okay, I will walk up to her. Do I know her name?
Yes, because Dot has mentioned that Squee was supposed to have lunch with Garluga, that bitch, if you recall. Her last name is probably not that bitch, but that was the attitude that Dot had.
Okay. I will go up to Garluga then and go, I'm terribly sorry. I believe you might be Garluga? I'm not entirely sure, but you don't seem to enjoy your beverage. Would you like something else?
Resting bitch face just totally looks up at you because you're considerably taller.
I would actually sit down so that I wasn't towering over her. I mean, that would be intimidating, and Martina's not.
Jacob's still towering.
She looks at you and she's like, seat taken.
Well, very well. You don't seem to be enjoying your drink, though. We will leave, but would you like something else?
A hand actually appears on your shoulder and says, Squee would never allow such a thing to go. You, my dear, are beautiful. And he pulls up a third chair and sits down beside you. And if you thought resting bitch face was angry before, you now have downright dripping venomous animosity staring at you because Squee has apparently set his eyes on Martine.
Oh, fuck! That is not what I was intending.
I love how the artwork goes from like hot female goblins to the male goblins just look like mashed potato faces.
See, that actually feeds the irony in that all of these females have a huge crush on this Squee.
Oh yeah, no, I'm totally leaning into Martine having a crush on what's her name?
Garluga. Or,
Garluga.
yeah, hopefully not Dot. She's a little underage.
Yeah, no, not Dot. She's underage. I'm good.
Yeah.
Depends on the age of maturity for goblins, right?
Also, for reference, if I pull in any major NPCs from Magic the Gathering, I will probably actually use the card that I most associate with them.
Okay.
So, as you can see from the picture, I hope, Squee is clad very similar to Garluga, as if this may have been an intentional ploy on her part. He's wearing tight, form-fitting leathers, and definitely, like, he looks like he's right out of the waist. He is probably Gruul affiliated these days. He does have a strange little soft animal in his hand that he kind of strokes like a pet cat, almost Dr. Evilish when he sits down. Like, literally, it's in his hand, and he just kind of like is doing one of these things whilst looking at you in a very uncomfortable and intent way. He's got very large ears from which hang multiple piercings. His cheeks are swollen. It looks like he's probably been beaten lately.
Or maybe been drinking too much.
You know, that is a common thing for poor goblins. And he looks at you and says, "So, you have joined Squee and Garluga for lunch, and yet we are unfamiliar with your name."
No, I have joined Garluga and Squee for lunch.
Oh, squeeze. That is not how this works. Garluga is my guest for lunch, and you are now my guest as well.
If there's a seat or like a table open near their table, Gal will sit down over there and try to flag down a waitress.
Very well.
Depending on how close he is, Martine might actually grab the chair and drag it to her.
You're also still attached to Decca, don't forget.
Yeah, no, Decca's like, I think, standing above her.
Mm-hmm.
So, Garluga.
Squeeze. We know all about
I'm
Garluga.
terribly sorry. Garluga, I believe I had offered you a drink, and you hadn't told me yet what you would prefer.
She's still just staring daggers at you.
Still trying with all of my charm. You didn't seem to enjoy this drink. Would you like something else?
Leans in. Dot leans in and whispers in your ear, "I told you she was a bitch."
That's okay. She's
And that
amazing.
actually
I
does
really like her.
That does get a response out of Garluga, who turns daggers from you to tiny little Dot. And she says, "You better watch your mouth, Brunt, or I'll have words with your papa." Squeak. Ladies. To squee or not to squee, let's talk about something way more entertaining, like me. He like raises a hand like this, does one of these, stops and looks at Gal and says,
Decca's very interested in this 4 or 5-way relationship that's going on here. and he's like writing notes, and it's like jealousy is very dominant.
"Tell Squee, why have you come to join Squee for lunch today?"
Out of character, could someone tell me? I got really distracted a little bit ago.
Squee is a possible line on Fallish.
Okay, so
On Fallish as well as Krinko.
Possibly Krenko.
all right, I definitely need some backup then, because Martine, right now, as far as I know, is interested in Galuga.
Someone's gonna have to keep her in line.
All the
Yeah.
wrong people are here.
Could someone help out, pretty please?
Do you
No,
say
that's-
that?
No, this is out of character. That
Well, the
I
deck is
I
not
got
helping you.
super distracted, and as it is right now, Martine's stepping into this situation. She's interested in Galuga. And I'm not entirely sure what to do from here. I'm sorry.
I know, it's like,
I just
Um,
want to throw that out of character. Is I actually need some help in character.
Mr. Squee, we're looking for a possible friend of yours.
Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Squee has many friends. Squeeze is very popular in all the right circles. Have you seen my friends? And he like does one of the gestures to Garluga, and like for the first time, you actually see the anger kind of dissipates, and like she's like blushing like hugely, like like she's trying hard to play it off, but like her green cheeks are definitely like rosy under the
No.
attention from ugly
Martine
Squee here.
is definitely going to try to figure out Carluga's favorite drink.
Well, on the bright side, the server appears because Squee gets top of the line service here. And drinks are placed in front of everybody. Mimosas is not what Garluga has in front of her, but mimosas are put down in front of all of you, except for Gal, who has a large tankard of something whitish with a hint of brown. It's possibly chocolate milk, but I'm not certain.
Are
I'm
these
worried.
mimosas just like straight mimosas, or are they like hibiscus mimosas?
You know what? It's a fancy place. We'll go ahead and throw some biscuits in there for you.
Sweet, they're better.
do I have one in front of me?
The server actually pauses in front of Decca, having brought one for Decca, but upon getting a closer look, they kind of like cock their head and look at the drink, and they hesitantly like hold it forward, like take it if you want to take.
Yeah, I take it and I just start downing it.
Awesome.
Gal will tap the server on the shoulder with one massive hand and be like, "And a pot of coffee, please."
The server kind of does like a real silent head bob and like
If Martine
leans around
hears
to like
this,
smile
she'll
at
go,
Squee and then runs away,
add
even though it's
some-
not a
okay, if Martine hears Gal do that, she'll go, add some Irish coffee to it. Irish cream. Do it, do it.
The server scurries off. The doctor
Anyway,
sits down now. She pulls up a chair and turns it around backwards like she's trying to be a 12-year-old badass. and she picks up a mimosa as well. And left uninhibited, she's totally going to start downing that.
I'm not going to stop her. Decca doesn't know the age requirements for drinking here.
Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Everything is better with a drink. And Squee gets nothing but prettier. And at that one, he actually looks at Crawl and like tries to look under. You have a hood on, right, Crawl? He like actually tries to like look under the hood to see what you're working with in there.
The more than anything is like beneath the hood, because remember the teeth are.
Ooh, hello, teeth. You think she's a biter? Squeak, 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 squeak.
Oh, yeah, a goblin would be totally into that.
So tell Squee, seriously, why are we here? Is it because I'm so ruggedly handsome? Have you heard the legends? Did you hear how I was killed 3 times last night? And here is Squee. To squee or not to squee? And he like holds up the little like cat-like fur ball and does his best like Shakespearean to squee or not to squee speech that he completely makes up. And then he ends it with, "And forever squee shall I be." And the cat goes back down to his lap, and he's just weird as crap.
Anyway, Mr. Squee, we're looking for your friend, Mr. Fallish.
Fallish. Oh my, squee, 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 squee. And you were looking for Mr. Fallish, I see, squee, squee. What business do you have with Fallish?
Could I do some sort of arcana check to see if Squee has some sort of magical item that makes him more appealing?
Sure.
Okay. Arcana or something else?
Roll whatever knowledge skill you want to go with.
I am guessing Arcana?
Sure.
Maybe goblins just like egomaniacs. It's a good roll.
It's a really good roll.
It's a really good roll. So, you don't think there's anything magical about this guy, and you can't for the life of you figure out how he comes back from being killed, because the only thing on him are these leathers and the little fuzzy cat and his piercings, but they all look rusty and gross, actually.
What
Like,
the fuck? Alright. She's literally talking to the other girl. Alright, I understand why he's so appealing, but you're totally more gorgeous. And she'll just go back to her drink.
Dot just exhales mimosa through her nose. Like, she just snorts that out, like, into her cup, and she starts coughing and gagging, and she goes, "What the hell? You think that bitch is hot?"
Are you kidding me? Look at her! She is gorgeous!
Whatever. I am so much hotter than her.
You're underage. You're underage, and I'm sorry, but there is no way that I would ever. No, just no, nope, 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 nope. All of my nopes.
Dot looks at you like, ew.
When you come of age, come on. Like, seriously.
Squeak, 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 squeak. You're a funny one. So, Fallish, you're saying. You have business with Fallish, and you've come to Squee to help you find Fallish.
You could say we are potential customers.
Oh, that kind of business. Well, Mistress Fallish has a storefront, you know.
Oh.
Squeak, 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 squeak. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I was just curious because if you were the law, you would have responded very differently. Squee knows that Fallish is still in business. Very good business if word on the street is true. And if you're looking for someone who knows how to find Fallish and you don't know where she is, I would check one of, and he kind of like pulls his fingers up like he's going to count, and he kind of does like a really confused gesture like between them because he can't figure out how to count all of a sudden. One of two people. See, Fallish, as you probably know, is kind of excommunicated from Izicorp and has some black market dealings with some very dangerous people. So she doesn't really broadcast where she's holed up. Obviously, that's why you've come to Squee. So, what Squee can tell you for the right price, and he just looks at Martine suggestively.
It's gonna have to be a threesome.
And says, for the right price, I can tell you the name of two people. Either or are almost guaranteed to know how best to approach Fallish.
It's only if Garluga agrees and isn't actually interested.
Garluga, without looking down, produces a bone knife from her belt, stabs it into the table, leans across, and she says, "Your lips touch his perfect little head, and I swear to God that bone knife's gonna go through your chin the wrong way."
Well, here's what I was thinking. Is you do everything with him, and I do everything with you until you want penetration.
Garluga's like, "What?
I have no interest in him.
How can you not be interested in him? Look at him." And
Are you
Squee's like,
kidding? Look
squeeze,
at
squeeze,
you!
squeeze.
You are gorgeous! You are amazing!
"Oh, I'm okay. I don't have nearly enough scars."
Maybe. You're still gorgeous.
At which point you look over and Dot's like making little slash marks on her wrist.
No, it's totally. It could be a thing, but it would have to be prefaced with you and Squee
Squeak, 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 squeak.
and me and you. Where I would be trying to play off of what you need and you enjoy Squee.
Squeak, 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 squeak.
Only if that is something that would work with you would this work.
Squee leans into Galith and it's like, "I think she's giving me way more than I asked for."
Gal will just kind of look at him.
Squee actually puts a hand up onto Garluga's shoulder and says, "Dear, dear, dear, all Squee needed was a kiss on the forehead."
Okay.
I think it turned out to be Martine trying to take advantage of the situation here.
That's why it's funny.
Yes, probably.
Let her know she's dedicated to do what we need to do to get the job done.
Dot like gets up, runs around the table, and like grabs a hold of Squee's shoulder and like hefts herself up and kisses him on the forehead. At which point Squee is like, "Squee, squee, squee, squee! Too young!"
Gal will reach over and lift Dot up by the back of her dress or back of her shirt and set her down away from Squee.
Good, because Garluga was like on her feet, like two more bone knives in either hand, like ready to go to town. And she levels one at Dot and she goes, "You are warned, Brunt." Squee is like, "Ah, Squee, no fun. Fine." And he pulls out the napkin in front of him and he like unfurls it, throws it down across his lap, and goes, "Difficult, difficult people. You know what? Balish owes me a favor, so I'm gonna go ahead and send you his way. If you talk to Wyroon at the Millstone, Wyroon is totally Falish's best friend. Or you could try and find Spitstink."
Spitstink?
Spitstink, of course. Probably harder to find than the Millstone. It's a pretty well-known establishment. But Spitstink knows all the goblin happenings and goings. You
have one last piece of business with you, Mr. Squee.
You'd like to kiss my forehead too, big man? And he kind of like does like a little demo of his like nappy green forehead for you.
What have you heard about Mr. Krinko?
Oh, I heard he's back in town, but he hasn't come to see Squee. That's very odd. Squee used to be one of his people. Probably Jula's fault, spreading lies and saying mean things about me owing money and embezzling and all sorts of fibs. Squee would never.
Well, if you see him, get your kiss from him, not me.
Why would Krenko kiss Squee? Krenko doesn't like boys.
Anything else we need covered? Like above game?
You got 2 leads out of him.
Yeah.
One being the Millstone, which is a fairly well-known tavern. And the other is the name of someone called Spitstink, who is apparently the most connected goblin. But he's harder to find because he's not an establishment that is stationary.
Wasn't there the other name, Wide Rune or something like that?
So, Wyrune can be found at the Millstone.
Okay. And then Spitstink. Okay. Thank you for the time and drinks, Mr. Squee.
Squeak, 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 squeak. You sure, big guy? Could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
It could have been, but I was rejected.
For these hunting guys.
She didn't want me.
I'll pat Martine on the head.
Totally lean into the head pets.
Okay.
Gal will finish both his drinks with a few long swigs and stand up ready to go. Making sure to grab Dot as well.
Yeah.
If it's any consolation, Garluga's venomous stares are all about Dot now instead of Martine.
It still doesn't matter, because it's still all about Squee. Garluga has no interest in Martine as far as Martine knows.
Yep, now she just wants to kill Dot because Dot kissed Squee's forehead.
You just need to make yourself a super scarred, stupid goblin.
Eh, no, she was just amazing. Martine just wanted to give her, I guess, put herself out there with this person that she thought was amazing.
Don't worry, Martine. There are other femme goblins in the city, I'm sure.
I'm sure there are. There's also, and I'm sure it's like Gal's hand, like gigantic hand on her shoulder. It's like, I'm sure there's other people that will interest me just as much. She was just really fascinating.
I'll tear out a piece of paper and it has a sketch of her. I'm like, here, you can have this to remind you of her.
Martine will totally accept this, and thank you, Decca. And no, I'm totally gonna say this. It's gonna be in her special image spank bank.
That's a negative, Terry. You do not. So where are you guys headed?
the place that we know.
The millstone, because
Yes.
it's an establishment.
First, I say we take Dot back to the fighting ring.
Do we not want to drag this underage
But
person?
Dot's totally willing to help you find the millstone as a guide. Because you guys helped her get to see Squee today, and she's so dreamy that she got to kiss him on the forehead.
Seriously, that's a problem.
She has daddy issues, what?
At least Squee has standards.
What?
I'm sorry. You.
So you guys are on your way to the millstone then?
Yes.
All right. Conveniently, that is actually back on the edge of District 4, where they're building the District 7 near the refugee center. The millstone, as Dot will be more than happy to fill you in on the way there, is a very old establishment. It was built into a statue that supposedly, and she does air quotes, predates District 10. It is on the edge of the precinct, so behind it is like rubble strip for as far as you can see, except as when you get there, you'll see that that is no longer the case, as there is construction zones on the far side of this giant statue. It looks somewhat like this.
Okay.
The
Cool.
giant wheel-looking thing on the left is mobile and spins in a very slow, ponderous circle around the brain. This is actually based off of a Magic the Gathering card as well. The path is a very long flight of stairs on either side where the ears would be that goes up to the brain area. If you get to the top of the stairs and the wheel is coming, Dot will obviously put out her hands like a little crossing guard and from passing until the wheel goes past, and then the next flight of the stairs until you can get up to the door that is the entrance to the millstone.
When the stone's going by, Gal will put a copper piece down in its path, and then
Nice.
pick up his squished copper piece.
So let's see here. Those have names here. That would be a copper zib, by the way, as a reminder, which is also in the player handouts. Get to know your player currency.
Sorry.
That's fine. If you wait long enough for that large ponderous wheel to spin back around, it will indeed be a flattened copper zib that no longer has much in the way of monetary value because it is lacking the mint.
But yeah, no, it's totally a shit. What do you call that? A relic of an adventure.
Mm-hmm. It's like a souvenir.
That's the word I'm looking for that I could not remember.
I was just thinking of like the penny presses at zoos
Yeah.
and such.
Yeah,
Yep.
no.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, is there any kind of symbols on the millstone that would have actually hit the copper piece?
The stone, no, but the ground looks like a cut section of a giant brain. So if you positioned it well, you might get one of those.
So now it's a flattened piece of copper with a little ridge in it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Inside, you see a very large tavern, actually. It is a very large circular room. In the very center of it is a circular bar. There are tables around. There is probably 8 or 9 fireplaces. There is a large minotaur sitting behind the bar. Next to him, it's not being held like it is in the picture, but there is a large sword-esque looking weapon. Unlike Gal, he is extremely muscular and dark of skin with very bright blue eyes. You guys can all see that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He is the only person in the room right now. Like, this bar does not currently have any patrons aside from yourselves.
Okay.
And he is doing the classic, wiping down the bar top with a rag.
He's just wiping one glass forever.
Yep. That's exactly what's happening.
All right, so I'm going to lean into Martine actually trying to separate herself from the mint. Is there anything behind the bar that would suggest a peppermint or spearmint flavor?
So there's a column that is stacked with glass bottles of every rhyme, reason, or color and size, shape you can imagine.
All right, so Martine is going to go up to the bar. And she's going to be looking at those bottles. And she's going to look at this Minotaur, Wirun. Do you have anything minty? That would not be a peppermint stick. Do you have anything minty that is not a peppermint stick?
Minty, you want domestic or import?
Import? Question?
Import good. And he turns and kind of lumbers away. This dude, when you see him turn, he is like a clear gym rat. There's probably not an ounce of fat on him, and he is so solid muscle that he's like awkward moving. Like he doesn't do cardio or agility or stretching. He just is like sheer solid mass.
Well,
So he gets over
not
to
appealing.
he gets over to the far side of the column, and he picks up a bottle in one hand, which in your hand this would probably look like a decent sized bottle, but in his, because he's got huge massive hands, it's kind of like a cup size. And he comes back and he sets it in front of you. It's clear. There is a label on it that is in an interesting script that spells, if you were to phonetic it, Rumpelmans. Schnapps, peppery, imported.
Sounds delightful.
Yes.
Do you have a glass for this? Is there a specific one we're supposed to enjoy this with?
You order shot, mug, or bottle.
How strong is this?
You're asking the Minotaur?
Yes, I am asking the Minotaur.
He kind of like cocks his head a little bit to the side, not that there's much of a neck to actually move. But you could tell he's like gauging you up and down. He says, not recommend whole bottle for just you. Your share is good.
All right. How much for the bottle to share amongst my peeps?
1 silver 25 zib,
Okay.
which is the equivalent of 25 copper pieces.
That's fine. That's totally fine. I will go ahead and pay that and request the glasses to share with everyone.
He says, is good, and turns away and comes back with, like, he's trying really hard, but he's got like a shot glass between each of his fingers, just delicately so he's not squeezing them, and sets them down. Even though there isn't 10 of you, he sets down 10 glasses because I think it was just easier for him.
Totally fine. Martine actually turns to Decca and goes, this is not peppermint sticks, but this is peppermint, and it should be delicious, but it should not be addictive. And she goes, looks at the glass, and up at Decca, and back at the glass, and up at Decca, like several.
That could just go be like, of course, sure, and just pat you on the shoulder.
And at this point, Wirun looks at Dot and he says, little one, too young for bar.
Are you kidding? She's the one that's been like showing us around. Do you
He's
have
good guide.
something for her? Like maybe
He's
chocolate milk?
good guide, but too young to sit at bar. Ordinance.
Chocolate
Table.
milk?
Is there a table close by?
Lots. You
Well,
see?
I'm just asking if there is.
We can shift to a table. Could you give her a milk or chocolate milk? What do you actually prefer?
That's like, I want what you're having.
Well, he did bring 10 glasses.
He's not objecting to drinking, just her sitting at the bar.
So, yeah, she could drink as long as it's at a table.
Do we really want to encourage the?
She already had a mimosa.
I know. And she was drinking it pretty well until you said something that made her. Yes.
Did I say something?
Yeah, you were saying something about Garluga, and it made her spit it out.
Oh well.
Out her nose. Like,
Well, that was not me saying that she shouldn't drink. That was me hitting on Garluga, I think.
So then none of us are bothered by her drinking.
I don't know actually how old she is, or how with goblins, how old.
Did you ask? You didn't ask how old she was. You didn't ask how old everyone has to be to drink. And the bartender didn't seem to have a problem with it. He only had a problem with her being at the bar. So as far as we know, she's an adult.
Like, are there actually drinking regulations? This is a world where there's brothels and blood sport, so
and
So
she's working
Sewer
out.
House has brothels and
there are
blood
laws
sports.
and ordinances out the yin yang because there's an entire guild that is dedicated to that, the Azorius. And Wyroon, whose name you haven't yet established, mentioned that there's an ordinance that a young person cannot sit at the bar. That's all he said. He didn't say she was too young to drink. He just said she was too young to sit at the bar.
And she is working at a bar.
she was doing serving, if I remember correctly.
Yes. But she never sat at the bar.
No.
See, it's okay. We're following the law.
Alright, so let's
Anyway.
shift to a table. We'll go ahead and have these peppermint schnapps in shot glasses, except for Gal, who probably has a pint.
No, if everyone else is having it in shot glasses, he'll have it in.
Yeah, it'll look like he's got
A thimble.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what we did. I'm not doing great
Bless you.
tonight. I'm sorry.
Thanks.
We're here to ask questions for Bingo.
Alright. I am going to find my food and a beverage. Please continue with whatever the fuck we're supposed to be doing. 'Cause
Looking
I am
for a fight.
Not on point tonight. I am not.
You're still trying to find Fallish.
Okay. So, not seducing the
Minotaur?
NPCs.
I mean, if that's really what you're...
Yeah, that's your
Another
MO.
way to go
I
about
might
it.
try that after I pour my drink.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
sorry. No, after you.
Well, I was gonna say my character wouldn't be saying so much stuff, but it's a matter of possibly just having something written down and then push it to somebody so we can figure out what's going on. Like it's on lines of going through and actually tapping on the table with the list of names that we actually wrote down to make sure we're back on point. Because it seems like she's distracted, and especially since there's no woman here to distract her, we might actually be able to get the information we're looking for. So, like very much like Deck is taking notes, Crawl kind of does, but not really so much in legible stuff, but just like pictures of what she thinks the person looks like, kind of thing.
So we're just looking at a picture of something.
Yeah, and then I tap on it, and then I point towards the bartender. I think from information we got, I think that's close enough. Or we can always ask them about that character. Because, like I said, my character's not going to say as much as I'm saying right now, but it's trying to indicate the name or the picture looks like what I think would be the bartender, and maybe we can figure that out.
Got it.
Just trying to get somebody else to ask the bartender what the bartender's name is, and if they know this person, so we can move on.
Oh, okay, so are we trying to get information from the bartender?
Yes,
Is that what
that's
I missed?
Yeah, what I was saying was my character, because like I said, unlike that guy that takes notes, my character draws pictures because she can't really write stuff. So she writes down or draws a picture of what Wayroom looks like, closest to what we got for description wise, and then I point at the picture on the table, and then I point it, try to figure out if we can figure out the name or ask other questions to figure out if they know that person. Because so far as we know, it's not Wayroom, but we know it out of character. We know it is Wayroom, and we can ask about whereabouts of Wayroom and or get someplace else. As I said, my character's not going to be as helpful as I am right now trying to display this. Just be pointing at a picture, trying to point at the person, point at the picture, point at the person.
Okay, well, okay, in that case, I guess Martine is gonna look at Crawl's pictures, look up at Crawl, back at the pictures, and go, okay, are you sure? And then we'll walk up to Wyroon, and shit, what would be a seduction check?
Probably persuasion or deception. Take your pick.
Compliment his muscles.
I will go ahead and do persuasion if that's okay.
Sure.
16.
And how are you trying to, like, are you
I am not. Well,
What's
Kel
the name?
is running away apparently. Let me think. So Martine is doing this, thinking that she is trying to back up Crawl in whatever Crawl's trying to do, mostly because I'm terribly sorry, but I have been very distracted. So I'm going to attempt to distract Wyroon by complimenting his muscles and trying to distract him to some sort of side room. Now, this is probably going to be somewhat awkward because Dekka is actually tied to me right now.
Yeah, I would stop her before. I would just be pulling on her shirt, and then I would walk up to the bar a little bit more and then whisper, because I'm pretty much my character now doesn't really talk out loud, or too loud, I should say, and whisper to Rayroon, saying, "We're here for a job. We have questions. Can you help us find this person?"
But
And
he's so
I look,
sexy with his really, really big muscles.
I looked to Martine and said, "Maybe we can make it worth your time. As you can see, she's interested in you. We just need information, and then you guys can go and do what you need to do. We can wait for you."
Wyroon says, is precious but not type. Can help. What you need?
Okay.
And we're looking for Falash, right? Is that what we were?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll channel my inner note and just be like, we're looking for Falash. I'll try to mimic her voice.
So with Martine's role, he would have actually told you this anyway. Falish's best friend. Falish comes in every night almost, except when making deliveries. She is good. Very good business, very good patron. Good friend. She has good stories, makes good things.
What time is at night?
Let's see here. Usually dinnerish evening.
And you know when normal deliveries are? Is there just a schedule for this?
Yes, she accept delivery from apothecaries, suppliers, and metal workers during day, and make delivery to customers at night.
You are too adorable.
Thank you. And he makes his peck stance for you.
Martine is overly interested.
Do you know if she'll be doing a delivery today?
I do not have schedule, but she eat dinner here every day.
All right. So
Or
I'll be
you
like,
could go ask. She is very nice person.
where do you know where she is right now?
Of course, his best friend.
Okay, where is your best friend?
At her lab.
Where's her lab?
Um,
I'm pretty sure labs are
Hmm?
secret, right?
No, that's secret labs. Regular labs are open to the public.
I have
Oh,
never
okay.
been, but Nogra deliver many things to her there.
Who's
Nogra,
Nogra?
who I buy my hops from. Nogra is also very nice and helpful.
So, like I said, whispering in Note's voice, because like I said, that's what we're going to do now. We can wait here for your friend. And that way we can buy drinks from you. You can help us with information. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about this wonderful town you have.
Is
Are
good.
you sure
You
you
drink
don't want
much.
us to continue the possible chemistry we have here?
Is only 1 o'clock. You want to wait till dinner? I mean, she
No, I
late.
really don't.
It's okay. I have lots of beer for sale.
Do you
Not
have food
too
for
many more
sale?
bottles of that is important. Takes a while to backfill, you know.
We can always come back if you guys want to, but it's a matter of us making sure we have the lead that we have. If you guys want to go someplace else.
If time sensitive, just go talk to Nogra. She is apothecary, very good with healing and makes good hops.
I'll have a map that I've been drawing the entire time I've been walking, and I'll be like, "Can you point to where she would be?" Or
It's like a block and a half away.
okay, cool. Yes, we could go.
So
So that means no, Martine. So then I'll usher her out as we work.
Yes, and now
do
that
you
I'm
guys want to do that and
mimicking, no, I'm turning around and now I'm pulling her on the leash.
Oh, but he's so interesting. I want to know more about him.
We'll be back later. Don't worry.
Goodbye, people.
So, fight for Wyroon. Martine is literally getting dragged out of the room while she's going, but he's so interesting. I want to know more about him.
Goodbye. Have fun storming the castle.
Oh, you think we'll make it?
No.
It'll take a miracle, right? I'm sorry, that was really, really geeky.
That's okay. We'll have another one here for you shortly, Becca.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so I find where to go and I just start going towards it.
Yep. So as you're walking, you actually pretty easily find the shop called Nagra's Apothecary. It looks every bit like a legit apothecary, but actually, I've got a cool. Never mind. It doesn't look like I forgot. I decided to have a little fun with this. It's actually called Nagra's Remedies. It is a rundown medical clinic, or more accurately, the burnt out shell of one that has been overgrown with verdant vines and ivy with a willow tree at its heart. The willow tree branches basically being the roof and the walls of this place. So at any point that you decide to walk over the rubble, you just part the willow branches and you enter into the facility. Yeah, inside there are medical tables, lots of plants in pots, and there's cutting stations and apothecary implements all over the place. There are 2 assistants working, and because Becca is just having a really good night of funness, you get to see yet another goblin.
Gal leans down. Told you.
It's like, have at it. Go for 3.
It's okay if I get shot down another time.
As you guys enter, this goblin, she actually like comes scurrying. She's like, "Hello, hello, hello! Is one of you injured? Is everything okay?"
I think we're okay. Are you okay?
And then she sees dots, like fresh cuts that she made on her wrist to try and make scars earlier.
Yes, help her.
She bends down. She's like, "Oh, little one, what have you been doing?" And like from her waist, she pulls out like gauze and immediately just starts treating this stuff with.
Martine leans over. She got a little too interested in that weird male goblin. Super charismatic. What was his name?
Squee.
Squee. She got really interested in Squee.
And she like looks up. She's like, "You guys met Squee?
Oh God.
Oh, dream."
Martine just kind of like sits down. It's just like, seriously, what the fuck is up with this Squee person?
Have you seen his forehead? It's so pretty and smooth. I swear he must bathe it in aloe every night. And she's like just wrapping up Dot's wounds.
I really just want to flick him on the forehead, like, pew!
It's like, and Deca will come over and he'll
probably
grab
like that.
Martine's head. It's like, how do you feel about this forehead? As he's like moving her hair back.
And Naga actually looks at it. She's like, I mean, it's not bad for a human.
I'm not a human, I'm a half-elf.
Okay, it's not bad for a half elf. I missed your ears. I'm sorry. I meant no offense.
I've got blue skin.
So do humans. I don't know what you mean.
She's
Ah.
colorblind.
I work with plants. I'm really sorry. I meant no offense.
Oh. I'm just really sad. There's been
Why are you sad? Oh, I have something for that. And she like stands up and like darts over to one of her counters, opens up the cabinet and pulls out this vial. And she comes back. She's like, here. And she pops off the cork and she's like, drink this.
It's peppermint.
Oh, does she like peppermint? I can lace some peppermint in for good flavor. And
No,
then she like
no,
looks around and then she goes like this. And at her waist, she actually pulls out another little thing and she like droppers it into the vial. And she goes, there, now try. More peppermint.
No, I'm sure that's amazing, but I just don't understand. Like, there's so many people that are just amazing that I want to connect with, and this Squee person, who I don't understand the appeal.
Have you seen his forehead? Oh, it's so
I have. It's like a 5-head. I don't understand. I'm sorry. I just don't.
I'll grab one of my personal books out of my bag and I'll hand it to Martine. I'm like, read this for a second. Then I'll look at her. And I'll be like, we're on a job and we're looking for a way to find a person named Fallish.
And she's like, we can talk about that, but here, would you like to have? Since she's not going to, I've already unstoppered it. It's going to go to waste if somebody doesn't drink it.
I'm going to take it and I'm just going to hand it to Martine. I'm like, you should probably drink this.
Okay.
I'm going to need a Constitution save.
Okay. Okay, so what's my Constitution save? Alright, so my Constitution. Plus
So now that we have distracted, you say, well, we're also looking for Krinko if you also know the whereabouts. We're trying to. Also
Krinko.
Oh, 9.
So, Martine,
Yeah.
Rebecca, you have seen Fantastic Beasts, I imagine?
Yes, I have.
You're familiar with Giggle Juice?
Slightly.
Martine introduced it to Giggle Juice.
Oh, God.
Because she wanted to make you feel better. So, now that you know that, she answers Crawl, and she says, Kranko, that guy, in his day, he used to give me a lot of business. My apothecary is open to pretty much anyone or anything that needs help, so people come here that can't afford the crazy fees that they get in real clinics, and I patch them up with no questions. So, you know, it's probably going to get really busy around here now that he's back. The Shattergang brothers, they send people here, they bring their own people here, but they know there is no fighting in my establishment, or I cut them off.
I'll ask where the lab is.
I know Fallish. You said you wanted to find Fallish?
Yes.
What's your business with Fallish?
We're on a job.
A job? You're not trying to kill him, are you?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
Persuasion check. Because if Isacorp sent you, I'm probably not going to help you.
You want us to do an inside check, or are you going to do an inside check on us? Is that what you're saying?
No, I was looking for a persuasion check.
Oh. But I'm not lying.
She kind of looks at you and she's like, I don't know. You kind of look like something isn't made. And she kind of like taps your metal. Like, listen. She's like, I don't hear a heartbeat.
Is this it made a problem?
I love Thalish. She is so sweet. And if you guys are here to apprehend her, I am not that kind of a friend.
No, we have no interest in Fallish.
Your friend just said that you were looking for Thalish.
We're looking
Well,
for a
no,
job.
no,
we just
we-
want to
we-
ask her a couple of questions.
Yeah,
Just-
no, we're not interested. It's
Possibly buy things from her.
Yes.
We heard she makes toys of an interesting fashion.
She does make toys of an interesting fashion. If you'd like to roll also, you may.
Persuasion, you said?
we want to ask
How much you're gonna
her
lie?
about what's his face.
Jeez, you guys are really dying without note here today.
We're,
Yeah,
we're the
especially-
non-charismatic characters.
Especially with me being in a bad
And it's
spot.
funny because I only needed a roll of 10.
God damn it! Somebody else make a roll.
Is taking 10 still a thing in 5th edition?
Okay, persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I'm going to use my portent roll on her. She will have a 15 plus whatever she has.
You don't have to if you don't want because Becca got it.
Yeah,
okay.
No, I
We'll
got
let you
it.
save it because you might.
Persuasive to the core.
Martine
you might
has
have one.
like the most illiterate sentence possible. However,
Because you're giggling through the giggle juice, she decides she believes you. That's what we're gonna go with.
okay.
She's like, you know what? You seem like a really good person.
I like people.
Yeah. Maybe we can do something about that forehead later. But for now, this is how you get to Fallish's place. New directions.
Okay, she gives us directions, and I will also ask where she does she know where the Shatter Gang holds up.
Oh, they've got safe houses all over the place. They
I'm
moved
just
in-
going to ask her to point some out on the map.
Street. They're on Foundry Street. They're all over the Smelting Quarter. It is just ridiculous how invasive they are everywhere. If there weren't so many Boros in this precinct, I'm pretty sure they'd be here all the time. I don't know how they get their wounded in here to get treated.
So I'm going to ask her to try to get some business cards so that while we're here, we can also actually advertise for it, as well as
Oh,
reach
yeah.
other people.
Oh, sure, I have those. And she produces some for you. There is a picture of a willow tree actually on them, and it has Nagra's remedies printed on it. And then she actually pulled out a small bag. And she says, "Oh, if you're going to see Fallish, would you mind taking this to her?" And she kind of holds up a brown bag.
Yeah, we'll take it. Whatever it is.
Do you mind if we look in the bag before we take?
I mean, you can. It's just sulfur.
Look it up.
But don't worry, it's insulated so that you'll only smell it if you open it. Like, you can open it and double check, but like it's insulated so the smell doesn't permeate through.
Well, I'd like to just make sure they didn't give us the wrong thing. That way we're not delivering something that
Sure, go ahead, dear.
So open it up. I guess it's really, really sulfur.
This isn't sulfur, it's anthrax.
Nope. Smells exactly like sulfur.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys are on your way, or are you going to go somewhere else?
Making sure Martine leaves and then making our way. And I'm going to try to hand the bag over to Gel because I believe he can carry a lot better than I can.
Roger.
Yes, and does Dot leave us?
No, dot tags along.
I'm pretty sure I failed once more with any seduction. I've kind of succeeded with getting the information, but we're just gonna kind of leave.
Yeah, goblins don't like you, Martine. I'm sorry. You're an elf.
Half elf.
Yeah, whatever.
But goblins are amazing.
Don't worry. You know where they work, so you can always come back.
You could just stalk them later.
No, I'm not gonna stalk them. If they're not interested, then they're not interested.
Look, if you ever get wounded, we'll bring you here.
I think maybe the Minotaur was slightly interested. I might go back to him.
So, following the directions to Fallish's shop, you find yourself in an alley behind a restaurant. Near the back door of the establishment is a smaller padlocked iron door that looks as if it came from a vault. So you guys are approaching from here. Those are not actually barred doors. That's just the mouth of the alleyway.
All right.
I stole this map. Don't mind me.
Who did you steal them from?
Google image.
That's fair. I actually have to share who I stole the last map from for Sun Puppies in our next session because I forgot to
Yeah,
save
it had something about a Cthulhu logo down here in the lower right. I kind of blacked it out and stole it, like straight up. I did not make this map. I'm not getting money for this. It's okay.
So can anyone open the door, or do we just want to knock?
Just knock, I guess.
Okay, I'll knock on the door then.
So nothing happens at first, but then I need perception rolls, please.
perception.
And then I should find something quick.
These rolls are yours. Jeez.
Oh my god.
4. Crawl might see something.
Well, Krull definitely did. So, Krull, you actually hear something snap behind you. Probably a twig or a rock or something to that effect. And as you turn around, you see approaching. And why are these always faced the wrong direction? It is like that.
Sword drawn and everything?
What's that?
With swords drawn, or they just have them with them and they're not drawn? Like
They are drawing them as they enter the alley. Which, if you guys would like to put your tokens on this end of the alley somewhere, which you were originally facing the door, obviously, I'm probably not terribly prepared, and I probably should have had you do that immediately. But you may.
Wait. Wait. What? Okay. No, Puma. I'm just gonna Zerbert your tummy.
Nice.
You can't bite my elbows. Neener, neener, neener.
Well then.
No, that's an ongoing thing with me and doing things on my computer. Is Puma tries to bite my elbows, but I have gotten a very desk, and I have raised it so she can't reach my elbows. It's ridiculous, but it makes me very happy.
The elbows are safe.
Yep. My ankles, however, are not.
That's a lot of people. And I don't have Fireball yet.
Holy fuck! That's a lot of people.
So, what Krull alone has noticed is a rabble of goblin street thugs pouring into the alley silently behind you, drawing weapons as they have deduced that they have you cornered. Which means we'll also be needing initiative rolls.
Oh, noes. Oh, Galith can go first.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, ow.
All right, so let's write these down here. So we've got 10 is Gal. Man, you guys were almost in order. 7 is Kroll. 4 is Deca. 8 is Gallus.
Yeah. Gal and Martine have the same score. Gal can go first.
Oh, Gal rolled. Oh, that was the perception. That's why I was confused. And then Martine. And then Gabos.
Gobs of gobos.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I
6.
kill something or die now?
You said you wanted to kill things. I gave you lots of things to kill.
Yay! I might die. That's okay.
What? Why would you die?
Because alchemists are actually kind of squishy.
Psh, you'll be fine.
Think of it this way. There's a greater chance that you take a serious enough wound that we rush you back to that clinic we just came from. And then you get to hang out with a hot
Nagra.
goblin. Yeah, her.
I think I have a better chance with the Minotaur, though.
So, Crawl, you get. Oh no, wait, you have 7. Sorry, I can read my own writing. Gal is up first, eh? I mean, actually, you don't know they're there. Only Crawl does. So I guess that means we're at Crawl in the initiative order for going first.
Well, the whole thing is we're facing this way, but the whole point is if they're behind us, I would let everyone know.
But they blew their stealth check, so no surprise round.
Okay. So there's a group behind us, and it's like not. Don't everyone look right now. There's a group of people behind us. Does anyone speak Goblin?
Dot's like, I do.
So then I'll try to ask her to move to the front and be our representative for talking.
Yeah, we should probably find a
token.
for her, huh? Let's see here.
Goblin
Just say she hides in one of the barrels.
Oh, she's probably not going to do any fighting. I'm just.
Please, she's underage. She's like a
Look,
child.
She needed to get some more scars to look attractive to other goblins. Here's a prime choice. Here's a prime chance.
Apparently that's a thing. Martina is actually too pretty to be.
Look, we get you a nice smooth forehead and loads of scars, and you can pick up all the goblin chicks you want.
You know what? I'd rather go with a Minotaur. I want to be me. I want to be me. I want to be loved for me.
In response to Krull's commentary, Dot turns around and she goes instantly like rigid and her eyes bulging. She goes, Shatter Gang! Oh. And she literally does like run for the barrels over here and like tries to hide.
It's like, wow, we found them.
How convenient.
So is there a roof to this alley?
What's that?
Is there a roof to this alley?
There are arches, but not a roof. Anything else for your turn, Kroll? Of the
figure out if they seem like they are aggressive towards us because like anything, yes. He runs away.
Yep,
and
the Shatter Gang brothers, as you know, are also hunting for Krinko and are the street gang, like the leading goblin street gang in the district.
Okay. So I'm doing math real quick. Okay, so pretty much in the center area, I guess, around here, so I can get all of them, I'm going to cast Web.
Okay.
DC, I believe. It's 13. Dex. If not, they are restrained.
Cool. So they have to roll a bunch of d12 or whatever. Roll 1d20 plus 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So anyone that doesn't pass, which is only a few, they're restrained.
All right. So we will say goblin number 1 is okay. Number 2 is restrained. Number 3 is restrained. Number 4, what was the DC?
13.
13?
13.
13. And then at their turn, they can make string checks against their web to not be restrained. And that'll be my turn.
It's a good turn.
It is a good turn. That's a good spell. Oh, the last 3 are not. Especially if someone has fire. Did that carry over into 5th edition? Okay, so from Kroll, a giant web has erupted all around the Shattergang goblins. And that brings us to Dekka.
My turn?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to hit this area right here with sleep
Oh my.
at level 2. So,
Oh my.
oh god, that sucks.
Oh, that was not great.
You like 2 or 3 people.
So that goes by their hit points, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So each of them have 7 hit points. If you would like to determine which ones have fallen asleep, you may.
The ones that are restrained, I suggest.
Which ones are restrained? The front?
Oh, goodness. Let's see. I'm going to say we're going to count from the bottom up, starting from left to right on each row. So he's awake. Or sorry, he's not restrained. Restrained, restrained, restrained. So 1, 5, 6, 10, 11, and 12 are not restrained. How's that sound?
Could you like mark them with a bit of color or something?
You just want me to make, what'd you say? You can get 29 hit points divided by 7 is 4. So the first 4 you just want to be asleep?
Well, if he's got the people kind of on the front row, like hit, then I'll get the ones in the back right over here.
So 3 of the ones in the front row are not restrained.
All right.
So do you want to make them fall asleep?
No, I want to do the back. That way, people in the front maybe not try to wake them up.
Okay, so the rearmost 4?
Yeah.
Okay. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that means I only have to worry about. I guess the other ones will be doing strength checks, huh? So 1 and 5 get to advance. 1, 2. So he goes there. I think they've got a ranged attack, right? Where'd that go? Yep. +4, 1d6 +2. So this one here in the front. Actually, I said they didn't have that. So yeah, they just have swords drawn. So we'll say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's 30. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. He actually gets close enough to attack Gal. So his attack is +4 to hit. Does that hit Gal?
Yeah, it does.
Very well. So this goblin runs up and he takes a swipe at Gal for. Ouch!
Would have killed a goblin.
Quite a lucky goblin, I think. And let's see, then I can do strength checks, I guess, for these other clowns here, eh? They have to beat the same DC on their strength checks, for which they have a -1.
Magic number.
-1. What do they have to beat on that?
13. Magic number.
3, 4, 5. Oh, there's one.
Rolling magnificently.
So 2 of them are a little longer restrained, but they are in the back. So that does not work out well for them. Do they have to do they roll anything to navigate the web on their way forward, or once they're free, they're free? Like, is that a persistent area effect?
Sorry, trying to read when I'm muted. So each creature that starts its turn in the web or that enters them during its turn must make a Dex saving throw. On a failed saving throw, is restrained as long as it remains in the webs until it breaks free.
Okay, so once it breaks free, it's free though. But if they're passing
when it starts or ends its turn.
yeah, so anything they pass through, they're gonna have to roll again to save.
If they're still in it, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool. So from now, I'm gonna say that the 2 that actually managed to unrestrain themselves are going to try and help their brethren get unrestrained on their next turn. So they're gonna hang out where they're at. Was this one here is going to yell out something about Cranko lovers! Get them! Get out of the webs! Because he's angry. And that takes us to Gal.
Gal is going to swing his pipe wrench at the goblin that just struck him.
That is a hit.
Nice. All right. No, I was trying to roll damage. Stop that. There we go.
So that guy just takes a solid swipe of your wrench. Like, he probably takes the full on, almost spins around. You hit him so hard, but he doesn't quite die. He probably dropped to an almost knee there, but he's still up. Anything else on your turn?
That'll be it.
Very well. That moves us on to Martin.
Okay. I'm gonna go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then I'm going to lob my acclimate. I'm gonna lob my acid.
The acid?
Yeah, I'm gonna lob my acid right into them. I am close enough within 30 feet, so all of them have to do a DC 13 Dex save.
So they're rolling dex saves, you say?
Yes.
And that's all of them?
DC 13. 13.
And you can hit all of them with that, right?
That's what it looks like to me, yes.
3, 4.
So, sorry guys, I gotta go.
No worries.
Keeping the web up, and once the web's up, I'm gonna be healing whoever needs it the most.
Okay.
All right.
You guys, thanks for playing.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See ya.
Happy Mother's Day to Bree.
I'll let her know. Thank you guys.
See ya, Terry. Thanks for coming. Sorry, I considered not engaging this battle, but Becca wanted to kill things, so we're going to kill things.
Thank you. I really, 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 really appreciate it.
I'm sorry that my goblins rolled really well.
It's fine. It's
So
totally
it looks
fine.
like your acid hit 1, 2,
Whoever
3 of them,
fails
or 4,
deals.
4 of them.
All right. Whoever fails gets 2d6. Just straight 2d6 acid damage. 7 points for who
So
failed?
Hey.
we just said you hit 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
So 4 of them are down dead, like convulsing from acid.
Terrible melty deaths.
I don't think I have any bonus actions. So I moved, I threw a thing, and I'm done.
I'm just gonna say, for argument's sake, it was these 4 in the middle
Okay.
are dead. How's that sound?
Awesome!
Because 1 was restrained, 2 were awakened up, and 1 was asleep.
That
So
makes
they're
sense.
gone.
That makes a lot of sense.
Nice.
4 gobos dead to Martine. That brings us to Crawl, who is
Just healing people and doing
probably
stuff.
going to heal Gal. I have no idea what druid healing spells are for this level at all, because I don't ever play druids. Is that what 1d8 or something fun like that? I don't even know.
It depends on what spell he's using. If he's using,
Yeah.
it could be a 1d4 plus his wisdom modifier if he's using a bonus action.
Let's see here. Druid spell levels. You guys are second level now, right? Or second level spells?
Third.
3.
Yeah, what level spells is that though? That's second level spells now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe?
So let's see.
Question mark? Sure.
Yeah. The best healing spell on that list is non-existent. Restoration.
Restoration is amazing. Let's just
Yeah,
go
but
with
not
healing
used for
word.
this. So I'm guessing Cure Wounds would be a 1d8 plus spellcasting modifier.
Yeah.
So we'll just say 1d8 plus 3 for Gal because it's fun. Why not?
Do they have healing word? Do druids have healing word?
Yes, they do.
That's 1d4 plus their wisdom
That
too.
was not on the
And that's a bonus action.
list that I just brought up.
It's
Oh, it was.
fine.
Healing word, sorry, and it's
We
ranged.
can talk about it later, but yes, druids get
I
healing
found it.
word. It's a bonus
It's there.
action. It's a
It's there.
1d4 plus your wisdom modifier.
But this was a 1d8, so, and it was a single step up.
Superior healing word.
Well, we could go into deeper discussion regarding like the healing spells and how.
Or we could kill Gobbles.
Yeah, let's kill Gobos, cause
Kill the gobos.
Kill the Gobbles. Deca, kill some Gobbles.
All right, I'm going to move to put myself in between the goblins and Dot. And I'm going to shoot this guy with a firebolt.
Do it. Light him up. That is definitely a hit.
8.
That is definitely a down goblin.
Yes.
He is on the ground on fire. You guys are blowing through what was supposed to be a hard to deadly encounter very easily.
are you sure?
According to the encounter calculator, yes.
We're just
haven't
that good.
gone through the first round.
It's true, but only two of them can actually attack this round as is.
It's tactical play.
Yeah, that web was very well positioned and it very effective, and the follow-up sleep. So that was Deca. So we're on Gabos. Huzzah! Let's see here. Number 1 is gone. Number 2 is restrained, so he is trying to break free with the 1d20 minus 1. He does not break free. Number 2 is also trying to break free. He also fails. Number 3. Hey, number 3 is free of the webs. I'm pretty sure that counts as an action, so all he has now is a move.
Yeah, go ahead
But-
and move though.
Yeah, he's gonna move and get out of that web.
Pew,
5,
pew, pew,
10.
pew, pew.
He's gonna go there.
The fact that they have such short moves is
I know.
also killing them too.
I was like, if I dash, then I can't attack, and instead he just gets mowed over. And I decided not to give them ranged weapons because they're street thugs, and weapons are illegal, so it's not like they're walking around with.
Yeah, it's not like they're
guns.
walking around with a bag of holding.
I probably should have buffed up the numbers to offset.
By the way, I have a bag of holding.
Nice. So 5 was good though.
I've got all of the things.
Nice.
Still up.
So long as I don't die.
You won't die.
1d20 plus 4. Yeah, it's just this guy there. Oh wait, Gal, no, you didn't kill yours. That's right. He is still up. 20 plus 4. I'm guessing a 4 misses you, Gal.
Yes.
6 is asleep, 11 is asleep, and 12 is asleep. So, yeah, because the only guys that are up right now have no idea that the guys behind them are asleep, because the sleepers are all in the back. That was well decided. The 3 in the front are restrained. Okay, we are back to Gal.
Hit him, Gal.
Gal will take a 5-foot step right to there, and first off, swing at the one he initially hit.
That's a hit. That's Bravo.
Get soon tight.
Thank you. And then I will use my action surge to smack the other one.
Who is
Oh,
not
wait, okay, I thought that was one square closer. So, can I move? I will take another 5-foot step, because 5th edition allows you to do that, apparently. And smack him as well.
Smack him. That is a hit. I think we need to teach James the up arrow to bring up previous rolls. You can scroll through them. Yeah, they waited a year to teach me that one. Don't worry, James. I hear.
Seriously, you're the IT. How did you not know that?
Well, Gal is just mowing down gobos. I am
Not
now unrestrained, awake goblins.
Okay. What do we have next?
So next is Martin.
Alright, I'm gonna try to throw at these 2 gobos.
Okay.
Yeah. The ones in front of me. Oh, wait, it's just actually, they need to do a DC 13 save.
What kind of save? Next.
Dex save.
Okay.
Yeah, makes it. Alright.
Can they do dex saves if they're...
In their efforts to... Oh, do they lose for being restrained?
Yeah.
They
Did it-
automatically fail if they're
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Then they don't have to save at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
then they take 2d6 acid damage.
So what I'm hearing is that they're gonna die.
No.
tickle, tickle.
Right?
They take 2 damage. Apparently I rolled 2 ones.
Oh, actually, they have disadvantage on dex throws.
Oh, okay.
But we'll just say that, yeah, you hit them anyway, and you hit each of them for 2 acid damage.
So pathetic. I regret being an alchemist.
That brings us to Crawl, who is currently going to beat Crawl and not do anything useful. So, Deca, you're up.
All right. I'm going to hit that one with the firebolt.
Yeah, do it.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dead.
Fine. Kill another one of my gobos.
You're so squishy.
I know. So which one was that you hit again? Sorry, it was not.
This one right here.
Cool. That one there. Was it 4 damage or 8 damage?
8, because it was a crit.
Oh, gotcha. Now I see. It's green. Okay. So that was the other one up there. We have 4 left. Those ones are gone. Okay. Wow, this encounter was definitely not as hard as the calculator would have led me to believe.
They lied to you.
It's the setup because I took away their ranged weapons and the
You put them in the
Bundle them up
lip, and
nicely together.
the area effect spells really destroyed a lot of their advantage of numbers.
You should have just had them popping out of barrels all along the alleyway. It would have been both humorous and dangerous.
I was worried about the encounter saying that many goblins was hard to deadly. Like I actually had a NPC stage to come in and save you on the things got dire. And if Becca weren't really wanting to kill things, I probably would have brought him in anyway now at this point, just for dramatic flair and have the.
Oh, you still can.
You might try and kill him. You never know.
I might. You could still bring him in though. He
All
might
right,
be
we'll see.
charismatic enough where Martine doesn't want to kill him.
So these guys in the front here, seeing their allies get mowed down, are twice as motivated now to try and get unrestrained. Oh, wrong roll. That does not count because they are at negative. Yep, he is not. They are just webbed in super well. And the other two are just passed out asleep. So, yeah, that 21 I rolled back at the beginning of initiative that you haven't seen anything of yet. Coming up behind the two sleepers, you see a fantastically dressed goblin come up behind them, pull out 2 daggers, and just like he passes between them like narrowly and just comes back and stabs daggers right into their solar plexus.
Why does no one care about goblin lives?
They just drop dead, and he kind of puts his daggers back like this and cocks his head and just watches to see what you guys do with the 2 that are still restrained.
Do we recognize him?
I'm about to show him to you, but
Ooh.
no, you do
I will
not.
actually say that is what Martine says aloud.
You guys can see that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's the guy that just came up and killed the sleepers in the back.
He's wearing actual clothes. I'm impressed.
And he's dressed
his
very
hairs
nice.
are glorious.
Mm-hmm. Like
Look
if Martine
at
wanted to
that
see a
hair.
handsome male goblin, there you go.
He looks
So that brings us to Gal.
he looks way better than Squee.
He does.
But is he immortal?
He is not.
And does he have the forehead?
No, his
Yes,
forehead
but he also
is
has
better.
hair.
His forehead is better.
Apparently not to, female goblins, apparently.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe.
I don't know
We don't know if he's getting hit on.
I honestly
Oh,
don't know what they're looking for.
Sorry, zoned out for a moment. All the other are dead?
No, so you've got 2 restrained.
These
And-
are alive.
Yeah, sorry, the 2 sleepers in the back are dead now. So you still have those 2 that are restrained in webbing.
Tell them to surrender, I guess.
They're-
Room over them menacingly with a smacking pipe wrench in hand.
Awkwardly zerbert their tummies.
They are still intently trying to break free of the webbings. They are not responding verbally, but they're not attacking either. But they are definitely scared looking.
So maybe we should just talk to this very dapper looking male goblin. He could probably, even if they break free, tone them down. Hi,
Are we still in initiative?
I have
Uh-huh.
no idea.
You are, because there's still two foes struggling to get free, in theory. So if that was Gal's turn, that puts us on Martin.
Hi, goblin that has just showed up. If you can, like, get these people to stop, fine, but if not, I'm gonna do an alchemist acid on their face.
He's gonna he kind of does like a Fabio hair toss. He goes, "They don't work for me."
Great. Acid to the face then. DC 13 deck save.
At disadvantage.
Well,
At disadvantage.
yeah, at disadvantage.
So that's a fail. And a fail. Yeah, for disadvantage. Roll your damage.
Alright. I have to find my cursor.
So you just are like basically torturing these two with acid.
Drip, drip, drip.
Right?
I fucking suck.
You actually think
Nah, it's great. It's okay.
a bit of a frustration from this goblin in the back. Like he actually probably thinks you are genuinely just trying to slow kill torture these things.
That would be impressive to goblins. It's fine. It's fine.
Right. That brings us to Dekka.
They're still alive?
Yeah, she's
And
like
Martine,
she's torturing these two goblins.
she looks really distraught by the fact that she hasn't, like, just killed them.
I'm not even sure if you're doing your roll right because you have a backspace in there.
Do I?
Yeah, and it keeps on just
Okay.
coming up as a 2, not as your dice roll.
Let me see if I can fix that.
Because the last 2 have been like this. See, yeah, it hasn't been right. Her last 2 rolls have just been.
Yeah, that slash just makes it 2. That's
Yeah.
kind
So.
Okay.
that's cool. So you did 3 instead?
I guess it's still really low.
Well, they already have 2 if you count the last roll that you didn't.
Yeah, they are definitely not looking good. But they're on the verge.
I guess I'll just fireball that guy.
Kill them all, Dekka, please.
So the new guy?
Wait, did you say fireball?
Not fireball, firebolt.
Okay.
The guys that are struggling or the new guy?
No, this guy right here.
Okay. Just making sure. That's a hit.
3.
He dies.
Yeah, fireball would have been bad. That would have been good at the beginning.
Yeah.
There were a lot more goblins if you had fireball. So yeah, lone guy here gets to struggle again.
Oh, hey, it's the other dude we're looking
Hey,
for.
he finally like rips free of the webbing and almost falls flat on his face while he does so. And he's gonna try and run.
Where?
Out of the alley.
To the other goblin?
No, past him.
Does the other goblin do anything to him?
He kind of watches him go.
Okay. Are we in initiative now?
No. We will say you are out of initiative.
All right.
I really wants more goblins, in which case I can throw a bunch more down.
I'm going to be taking those business cards of that place, and I'm going to be pinning them to each of the goblin shirts that are on the ground.
That's fair. I mean, they are just at 0 hit points. They are not technically, I suppose.
This is for her business.
There you go. That's fair. That's very generous of you. So this goblin there, he was holding his dagger still like into that inverted grip, and he kind of gives them a super deft flick so that the goblin blood that was on them just kind of flicks away against the walls. looks at them, and they are immaculately clean. Like, clearly he's done this before. And he resheaths them into sheaths that are on the back of his belt. And he just kind of stares. Is that what Martine's doing? Is she like, who, another goblin?
I think she's asleep.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what she's doing. It's like, okay, so everyone's dead where they're left, and there's like awesome goblin right there, but do I really need to interact with him?
You don't have to. It's up to you.
Galleth will
What you're doing.
tip his little hat. Thank you, mister.
He gives you a nod.
I'm gonna ask if Dot's okay.
Dot comes out from behind her barrel. And she kind of like clings to Decca's leg. Well, I'm not really sure how Decca's that far away from Martine anymore with the whole rope and harness bit.
It's one of those extending leashes, like with dogs.
I think we have like 20 feet, right?
Probably.
10
Okay.
to 20 feet.
It's probably at this point. It's probably super tight. This is probably what's keeping her from going any further.
Well, either way, Dot
Okay.
steps out and hugs to Decca's leg.
Yeah. All right.
And she whispers to Decca, "Oh, who's that?"
Oh, that's awkward.
Well, Dot's just a teenage girl.
Queen age, if I remember correctly.
All right. Do we want to stop it here, or
It's up to y'all. I got nowhere else to be. I'm just gonna watch Game of Thrones when we're done. It's gonna be a good time.
yeah, I gotta go.
Okay. Then we will stop here. You guys can decide if you want to engage this NPC next session or proceed to Falish's lab.
All right.
Why not both?
That's possible. Okay, everybody. Thank you for another fun Sunday.
Yep.
Becca, I hope we were able to save your bloodlust.
Well, at least I got distracted.
That's true. And I'm probably going to be buying Monster Hunter World tomorrow because money is squared up. The Coast Guard paid me most of the money they stole from me. And, I can do new things. You can teach me how to kill things there because I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Oh, yes, please. I will play with you every afternoon.
Cool, because online games are more fun with other people.
They
And
really, really are.
do I need a mouse for that? Or because I'm on.
If you can get a, so,
Are we still streaming? Because I'm sure people don't care.
Yeah, well, I can close it. I will close it real quick. But if you can get a,